The holidays are quickly approaching, Thanksgiving right around the corner. It's time to start planning out those menus. To help talk about meal planning, ingredient swaps, and tips to make it all nutritious but still tasty without overindulging is dietitian Penny Crumpton with Cone Health Nutrition and Diabetes Education Services at Reidsville. What are some healthy options and alternatives for our traditional holiday meals?
Oh, thank you for having me today, Shane. What a great opportunity to share the wealth and information that this time of year brings. As an avid gardener, I encourage people to think about trying to go with more whole plant-based foods, things that are going to be rich in nutrients. And so what comes to mind this time of year are things that are plentiful in the garden for our fall gardens. We can consider sweet potatoes instead of a regular white potato. Maybe considering the options for acorn squash if you've never tried it, or butternut squash. Some of the rich sides of vegetables can be our turnip greens, our collards. And for those vegetarian, then looking at things that offer a protein and a fiber-rich source, like some of our whole grains, whether it's lentils, quinoa, and lots of dried beans that are out there to mix with those vegetables to make a wonderful, complete, heart-filling and stomach-filling meal.
Okay, now I'm hungry after hearing all that. You know, one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving is all the butter in the food. Is there something we can swap out instead of that to make it healthier?
Well, certainly we can always modify most recipes. We can always offer a plant-based margarine or butter in place of regular cow's milk butter for less saturated fat. We can also use things that add moisture to our recipes but don't add a lot of fat. So looking at things like substitutions of applesauce for maybe half of the amount of the fat that's in a recipe, adding bananas to recipes to add that rich moistness without the fat. Sometimes people can use prunes and dates to kind of give that rich taste to our foods but not have a lot of fat or added sugars.
I imagine you're going to want to test those recipes out ahead of time before Thanksgiving.
Absolutely.
What about all the sugary desserts? What can we do to satisfy our sweet tooth?
Well, again, thinking about things that are naturally and plentiful in our gardens or in our orchards and trees, trying to make some of the meals and the sides complemented with fruits. And so if we were to look at butternut squash, you know, you can do stuffed butternut squash or butternut acorn squash where we use a lot of apples, dates, prunes, persimmons even perhaps. Or if we're looking for some of a dessert that's more of a traditional thing, then certainly looking at using monk fruit or honey or maple syrup to sweeten up some of those things instead of so much granulated sugar. But as you know, Shane, probably most of the time we can always cut our amount of sugar in our recipes by probably about a third, and most people won't even know. So we'll still get that sweetness and enjoyment, but without the added sugars to affect our blood sugar and our waistline.
I have a lot of friends, and I've done this too, where ahead of Thanksgiving you might crash diet or skip a few meals here and there to sort of bank up some extra calories for the big meal. Is that a good idea?
Well, we don't recommend that because when we tend to be overly hungry, we lose our sense of self-control around food. So it's usually better to try to plan some meals around the big meal for the day, but trying to get good quality protein in. So sometimes smaller, more frequent meals and eating foods that are in their more whole form. So instead of processed things like protein bars or keto bars and things like that to kind of take your appetite away, trying to fill up with nutrients, whether it's apples and maybe peanut butter or some veggies with some hummus, so that you get that fiber, you get that protein, but you're also getting powerful packed nutrients to help you with your health to make it through the holidays and thereafter.
I know a lot of people too who will drink more water and to see if that fills them up. Is that a good idea?
Absolutely. So we encourage, try to drink 16 ounces of water before your meal. So the biggest mistake we do tend to make is trying to save up all our calories for that one meal a day. But if we can try to eat smaller, more frequent meals, get in plenty of exercise to account for those extra calories, then we won't be so lavished and starving at that dinner meal to where we can kind of make it a happy balance.
Speaking of more frequent meals, sometimes in the holidays you have more than one celebration to go to. Sometimes they're back to back. How do you not eat and pig out at every single one of those meals?
Well, a good way to handle that is to think and plan ahead. So if you know that you're going to a couple different houses for the holiday, whether it's a big brunch or an early lunch dinner or a big dinner, then kind of planning out your day and kind of coming up with a plan on, well, what am I going to eat at this meal? Am I going to do more vegetables at this lunch meal and save more of my heavier dishes with my dinner meal? Or also trying to, prioritize, where do I want to spend my energy? Do I want to spend it on the main course? Do I want to spend it on the sides? And if we fill up on more of the sides of the vegetables and the fruits and the heart healthy stuff, then we probably aren't going to quite indulge in the heavier things that tend to make us feel guilty.
Well, thanks so much. Some great advice. Stay with us because on the other side of this commercial, we're going to talk about leftover safety and how long they're good for.